Have you ever felt like your dreams of wealth were just out of reach? Like no matter what you did, financial success seemed to slip through your fingers? Well, what if I told you there's a simple yet powerful way to unlock the wealth you've always dreamed of? It's called the mirror principle, and it's not about fancy tricks or get-rich-quick schemes. It's about something much more profound, changing who you are on the inside. Now you might be thinking, change who I am. That sounds hard. But don't worry, it's simpler than you might think. The mirror principle is all about understanding that your outer world, including your financial situation, is a reflection of your inner world. It's like looking in a mirror. What you see isn't just random, it's a reflection of you. Let's take a moment to really think about this. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to attract money effortlessly while others struggle no matter how hard they work? It's not just luck or chance. It's often because of what's going on inside their minds and hearts. The mirror principle teaches us that if we want to change our financial reality, we need to start by changing our thoughts, beliefs, and feelings about money and ourselves. Now here's where things get really interesting and important. If you don't make changes on the inside, your financial situation on the outside isn't likely to change much either. It's like trying to fix a broken image in a mirror by wiping the glass. No matter how much you clean that mirror, the reflection won't change unless you change what's being reflected. But here's the exciting part. If you get this principle right, if you really understand and apply it, you could see amazing changes in your wealth. We're not just talking about a little extra cash in your pocket. We're talking about potentially transforming your entire financial life. Imagine waking up every day feeling confident about money. Picture yourself easily attracting financial opportunities, making smart decisions about your wealth, and watching your bank account grow. That's the kind of change the mirror principle can bring about. But it's not magic. It's about aligning your inner world with the wealth you want to see in your outer world. Now you might be wondering, is this really possible for me? The answer is yes, absolutely. The mirror principle doesn't discriminate. It doesn't care about your background, your current bank balance, or your past financial mistakes. It's a universal principle that anyone can apply, including you. But I want to be clear. This isn't about wishful thinking or daydreaming about being rich. It's about making real, lasting changes in how you think and feel about money. It's about becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts wealth. And while that might sound challenging, I promise you it's a journey worth taking. So, let's dive deeper into what the mirror principle really means. At its core, this principle tells us that our external reality, the world we see and experience around us, is like a mirror reflecting our internal reality, our thoughts, beliefs, and emotions. Think of it this way. Have you ever walked into a room full of mirrors at a fun house? Each mirror shows a slightly different version of you, right? Some make you look taller, some shorter, some wider. But no matter how the mirror distorts the image, it's still reflecting you. Our lives work in a similar way. The circumstances we find ourselves in, the opportunities we encounter or miss, the amount of money in our bank accounts, all of these are reflections of our inner selves. Let's use money as an example to make this clearer. If deep down you believe that money is hard to come by, that rich people are somehow bad, or that you're just not the kind of person who can be wealthy, guess what? The mirror of your life will reflect those beliefs. You might find yourself constantly struggling with money, missing out on good financial opportunities, or sabotaging your own success without even realizing it. On the flip side, if you believe that you're worthy of wealth, that money flows easily to you, and that you're smart and capable when it comes to finances, your outer world will start to reflect those beliefs too. You might notice more money-making opportunities coming your way. You might find yourself making better financial decisions. Your bank account might start growing in ways you never expected. Now, I know what you might be thinking, but I've tried positive thinking before, and it didn't work. Here's the thing. The mirror principle goes deeper than just positive thinking. It's not about plastering a smile on your face and saying, "I'm rich," 100 times a day. It's about truly changing your relationship with money and with yourself at a fundamental level. This principle teaches us that to create lasting change in our financial lives, we need to work on our self-image and our money mindset. We need to examine our beliefs about wealth and success, many of which we might have inherited from our families or society without even realizing it. We need to heal our relationship with money if it's been damaged by past experiences. The mirror principle also reminds us that change doesn't happen overnight. Just like it takes time for our reflection to change in a real mirror after we've made changes to our appearance, it takes time for our financial reality to shift after we've made inner changes. But the good news is, once those changes start happening, they can snowball into something truly amazing. Let me share a personal example to illustrate this. A few years ago, I was constantly stressed about money. I would look at my bank account with dread, always expecting the worst. And guess what? The worst often happened. I'd get hit with unexpected bills, lose out on job opportunities, or make poor financial decisions. It was like I was stuck in a never-ending cycle of money problems. But then I learned about the mirror principle. I realized that my constant worry and negative expectations about money were being reflected back to me in my financial reality. So I decided to change. I started working on my beliefs about money. I began to see myself as someone who was good with finances, someone who attracted wealth easily. At first, nothing seemed to change, but I kept at it, reminding myself that change takes time, and slowly but surely, things started to shift. I began noticing opportunities I would have missed before. I started making better financial decisions. My income began to increase. It wasn't an overnight transformation, but over time, my financial situation improved dramatically. That's the power of the mirror principle. It's not about magic or wishful thinking. It's about aligning your inner world with the wealth you want to see in your outer world. And the best part? Anyone can do it. You don't need special skills or a lot of money to start. You just need to be willing to look honestly at your beliefs and make changes where necessary. So, as we continue this journey together, I want you to keep this in mind. Your financial reality is a reflection of your inner world. If you want to change what you see in the mirror of your life, you need to change what's being reflected. Are you ready to take that journey? Are you ready to unlock the wealth that's waiting for you? Let's keep going and discover how you can use the mirror principle to transform your financial life. Now that we understand the basics of the mirror principle, let's dive into the first key to unlocking wealth: your relationship with yourself and money. This is where the real magic happens, folks. It's all about understanding that the mirror of reality reflects two crucial things: how you see yourself and how you see money. Let's start with how you see yourself. Take a moment to think about it. Do you believe you're worthy of wealth? Do you see yourself as someone who can handle large sums of money responsibly? Or do you secretly fear that you don't deserve financial abundance? These beliefs about yourself play a huge role in your financial reality. For example, if deep down you believe you're not good enough or smart enough to be wealthy, guess what? The mirror of reality will reflect that belief back to you. You might find yourself sabotaging your own success, turning down opportunities, or feeling overwhelmed when good things start happening financially. It's like you're sending a message to the universe saying, "I'm not ready for wealth," and the universe responds, "Okay, if you say so." But here's the good news. You can change this. You can start seeing yourself as someone who is absolutely worthy of wealth. Someone who has great ideas, who makes smart financial decisions, who attracts abundance naturally. When you start believing these things about yourself, you'll be amazed at how your outer world begins to change to match this new self-image. Now let's talk about your relationship with money itself. How do you feel about money? Is it a source of stress and worry? Do you see it as something scarce and hard to come by? Or do you view money as a positive force, something that flows freely and is always available to you? Many of us have complicated relationships with money, often stemming from things we learned in childhood or experiences we've had as adults. Maybe you grew up hearing that money is the root of all evil, or rich people are greedy. These beliefs, even if we don't consciously agree with them, can affect our ability to attract and keep wealth. The mirror principle teaches us that if we want to change our financial reality, we need to change these underlying beliefs. Start seeing money as a positive force in your life. View it as a tool for doing good, for taking care of yourself and others, for creating the life you want. When you shift your perspective on money from something scary or negative to something positive and helpful, you'll start to see those changes reflected in your financial situation. Here's a simple exercise to help you start reshaping your relationship with yourself and money. Every day, take a few minutes to visualize yourself as a wealthy, financially savvy person. See yourself making smart investments, generously donating to causes you care about, easily paying your bills, and enjoying financial freedom. Really feel the emotions associated with this, the confidence, the security, the joy. This isn't about daydreaming, it's about reshaping your self-image and your relationship with money. Remember, the mirror of reality doesn't judge, it simply reflects. So when you change how you see yourself and how you view money, you're changing the image that gets reflected back to you in your real-world financial situations. Now that we've talked about reshaping your relationship with yourself and money, let's move on to the second key: patience and persistence. This is crucial because one of the biggest mistakes people make when trying to change their financial situation is expecting instant results. The mirror principle works, but it's not a magic wand. It takes time for your inner changes to manifest in your outer world. Think about it like this. If you decide to get in shape, you don't expect to see a completely transformed body the very next day, right? You know it takes time, consistent effort, and patience. The same is true when it comes to transforming your financial reality. When we make changes in our inner world, our thoughts, beliefs, and feelings about money, there's often a delay before we see those changes reflected in our outer world. This delay happens because our physical reality, including our financial situation, is made up of the accumulated effects of our past thoughts and actions. It's like a big ship. It takes time to change direction. This is where a lot of people give up. They start working on their mindset, changing their beliefs about money, visualizing abundance. But when they don't see immediate results, they think it's not working. They go back to their old ways of thinking and behaving, and unsurprisingly, nothing changes. But here's the thing. Just because you can't see the changes yet doesn't mean they're not happening. Often, the biggest transformations are happening beneath the surface, invisible to the eye, until suddenly, boom, everything seems to shift at once. So how can you cultivate the patience and persistence needed to see real results with the mirror principle? First, commit to the long haul. Understand that you're not just trying to make a quick buck, you're reshaping your entire relationship with wealth. That's big, important work, and it takes time. Second, look for small signs of change. Maybe you start feeling more confident when you think about money. Perhaps you notice yourself making slightly better financial decisions. Or you might find that talking about money becomes easier and less stressful. These small shifts are signs that your inner work is starting to pay off. Third, keep reinforcing your new beliefs and self-image, even when it seems like nothing is changing. Remember, you're reprogramming years, maybe even decades, of thought patterns and beliefs. It's like learning a new language. At first it feels awkward and unnatural, but with persistent practice, it starts to feel more and more natural. Here's a personal example to illustrate this point. When I first started applying the mirror principle to my finances, I spent months visualizing myself as wealthy, repeating positive affirmations about money, and working on my self-worth. For a long time, nothing seemed to change. My bank account looked the same, my job was the same, my financial stresses were the same. But I kept at it. I trusted the process. And then, little by little, things started to shift. I got a small, unexpected bonus at work. Then a friend told me about an investment opportunity I would have usually been too scared to consider. I found myself making smarter choices with my spending without even trying. These were small changes, but they showed me that something was happening. And then, about a year after I started, everything seemed to explode into abundance. A big promotion at work, successful investments, new income streams I hadn't even imagined before. It all came together, almost as if by magic. But it wasn't magic. It was the result of persistent inner work, finally manifesting in my outer reality. So, as you work with the mirror principle, remember, patience and persistence are your friends. Trust the process. Keep doing the inner work, even when you can't see the results yet. Because one day, you'll look up and realize that your financial reality has transformed in ways you never thought possible. Now we come to the third key, and this one is absolutely crucial. Focus on what you want, not on what you don't want. This might sound simple, but it's actually one of the most powerful aspects of the mirror principle. Here's the thing. The mirror of reality doesn't reflect the nature of your thoughts, positive or negative, but their content. In other words, it doesn't matter if you're thinking, I don't want to be poor, or I want to be rich. In both cases, you're focusing on money. And what you focus on, you tend to get more of. Let's break this down a bit. When you constantly think about not wanting to be in debt, guess what your mind is focused on? Debt. When you worry all the time about not having enough money, your focus is on lack of money. And remember, the mirror principle says that what you focus on internally gets reflected externally. So if you're always thinking about debt and lack, you're likely to see more situations in your life that reinforce those ideas. It's like you're telling the universe, hey, give me more of this debt and lack stuff. And the universe, being the obedient mirror that it is, says, you got it. But here's the exciting part. This same principle works in your favor when you shift your focus to what you do want. Instead of thinking about not wanting debt, focus on financial freedom. Instead of worrying about lack, concentrate on abundance. Instead of stressing about bills, visualize a bank account that's always full. This shift in focus can feel unnatural at first, especially if you're in a tough financial situation. Your brain might resist, saying, but I have to think about these bills. I have to worry about this debt. And yes, of course, you need to be responsible and address your financial obligations. But obsessing over them, letting them dominate your thoughts, isn't going to change your situation. In fact, it might make it worse. So how do you make this shift in focus? Start small. Set aside a few minutes each day to deliberately think about what you want in your financial life. Visualize your ideal financial situation in vivid detail. How much money is in your bank account? What does your lifestyle look like? How does it feel to be financially secure? As you do this, you might notice negative thoughts creeping in. That's normal. When they come up, gently acknowledge them, then redirect your focus back to what you want. It's like training a puppy. You need to consistently, patiently redirect your attention where you want it to go. Another powerful technique is to practice gratitude for the money and abundance you already have in your life. Even if it doesn't feel like much, there's always something to be grateful for. Maybe you have enough for a roof over your head and food on your table. Maybe you have skills that allow you to earn money. Focus on these positives and feel genuine gratitude for them. Here's why this works. Gratitude puts you in a state of abundance. When you're grateful for what you have, you're telling the universe, I have enough. I am abundant. And guess what? The mirror reflects that back to you, bringing more abundance into your life. Let me share a personal story to illustrate this. A few years ago, I was in a pretty tough financial spot. I had a mountain of debt and was barely making ends meet. At first, all I could think about was how much debt I had and how I didn't want to be poor. But no matter how hard I worked, things weren't improving. Then I learned about the importance of focus in the mirror principle. I decided to try an experiment. Instead of obsessing over my debt, I started focusing on the abundance I wanted to create. I visualized myself debt-free with a healthy savings account. I practiced gratitude for the money I did have, even if it wasn't much. At first, it felt fake. How could I focus on abundance when my reality was so different? But I kept at it, and slowly, things started to change. I began noticing opportunities I'd overlooked before. I found myself making better financial decisions, and bit by bit, my financial situation improved. The debt didn't disappear overnight, but my relationship with money changed dramatically. I went from feeling constant stress and scarcity to feeling optimistic and abundant, even before my external circumstances fully changed. And that internal shift was what ultimately allowed me to turn my financial situation around. Remember, the mirror of reality reflects what you focus on, so make a conscious choice to focus on what you want, not what you don't want. Focus on abundance, not scarcity, on wealth, not poverty, on financial freedom, not debt. It might feel challenging at first, but with practice, it becomes second nature. And when that happens, you'll be amazed at how your financial reality begins to transform. Now that we've explored the importance of focus, let's dive into the fourth key: understanding and manipulating the mirror cycle. This is where things get really interesting and where you can start to see some powerful changes in your life. The mirror cycle is the process by which our inner world creates our outer reality, which then reinforces our inner world, creating a continuous loop. It's like a feedback system that's constantly running in the background of our lives. Understanding this cycle is crucial because it allows us to break negative patterns and create positive ones. Here's how the cycle typically works for most people. First, they observe their current reality. Let's say they see that they're struggling financially. Based on this observation, they form an image or attitude about money, perhaps that it's scarce or hard to come by. This image is then reflected in the mirror of reality, creating experiences that confirm their beliefs. They might miss out on opportunities or make poor financial decisions, further reinforcing their initial observation. This cycle can keep people trapped in financial struggles for years, even lifetimes. They observe lack, create an internal image of lack, which is then reflected back to them as more lack. It's a vicious cycle that can feel impossible to break. But here's the exciting part. Once you understand this cycle, you can flip it on its head and use it to your advantage. Instead of starting with observation, you start with the image you want to create. You consciously choose the beliefs and attitudes about money that you want to have, regardless of your current circumstances. For example, even if your bank account is currently low, you can choose to cultivate an inner image of abundance. You can see yourself as someone who is great at managing money, who attracts wealth easily, who always has more than enough. When you hold this image consistently, the mirror of reality has no choice but to start reflecting it back to you. Now, this is where many people get tripped up. They start to create a new inner image, but then they look at their current reality, see that nothing has changed yet, and give up. They fall back into the old cycle of observing lack and creating more lack. The key is to persist with your new inner image, even when your outer reality hasn't caught up yet. Remember, there's often a delay between inner changes and outer manifestation. You need to hold on to your new beliefs and attitudes long enough for them to take root and start producing results. As you do this, you'll start to notice small changes. Maybe you'll have an unexpected windfall, or you'll suddenly see a money-making opportunity you would have missed before. When these things happen, it's crucial to acknowledge them and use them to reinforce your new inner image. This creates a positive feedback loop where your new beliefs create positive experiences, which then strengthen your beliefs even more. Let me share a personal example of how I've used this principle. A few years ago, I was in a job that I felt was underpaying me. I was constantly stressed about money and felt stuck. I realized I was caught in a negative mirror cycle. I was observing my low pay, feeling undervalued, and that was being reflected back to me in my work performance and opportunities. So I decided to change the cycle. Instead of focusing on my current pay, I started to see myself as highly valuable and well compensated. I imagined myself confidently asking for raises, taking on high-value projects, and being recognized for my worth. I held on to this image, even though my external reality hadn't changed yet. At first, nothing seemed to happen, but I kept at it. Then, small things started to shift. I found myself speaking up more in meetings. I took on a challenging project that others had avoided. My boss started to notice my increased confidence and performance. About 6 months after I started this process, I was called into my boss's office. To my surprise, I was offered a significant promotion and pay raise. The outer reality had finally caught up with the inner image I had been cultivating. The key takeaway here is this: don't wait for your outer reality to change before you change your inner world. Use the mirror cycle proactively. Create the inner image of wealth and abundance you want to see, hold on to it consistently, and watch as your outer world begins to reflect that image back to you. Now that we've covered the 4 keys of the mirror principle, let's put it all into practice with a simple yet powerful exercise. This exercise will help you start reshaping your inner world to create the financial reality you desire. First, find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed for about 15 minutes. Sit comfortably and take a few deep breaths to center yourself. Now I want you to close your eyes and imagine yourself 5 years in the future, living your ideal financial life. Really see it in vivid detail. Where are you living? What does your home look like? How do you spend your days? How much money is in your bank account? How does it feel to be financially free? As you're visualizing, pay attention to how you feel. Do you feel calm, confident, joyful? Let those positive emotions fill your body. This is more than just daydreaming. You're actually creating new neural pathways in your brain, pathways that align with wealth and abundance. Now, keeping that vision in mind, I want you to create 3 affirmations that support this future reality. These should be positive statements in the present tense. For example, I am worthy of abundance and financial success. Money flows to me easily and abundantly. I make wise financial decisions that increase my wealth. Write these affirmations down. Put them somewhere you'll see them every day, on your bathroom mirror, as the background on your phone, or next to your bed. The final step of this exercise is to identify one small action you can take today that aligns with your future vision. It could be something as simple as setting up a savings account, researching investment options, or even just having a positive conversation about money with a friend. Do this visualization exercise for at least 5 minutes every day. Read your affirmations out loud with feeling at least twice a day. And take that small action, or a new one, daily. This consistent practice will begin to reshape your inner world, which will then be reflected in your outer reality. Remember, change takes time. You might not see results immediately, but trust in the process. You're planting seeds of wealth and abundance that will grow with time and nurturing. As you start applying the mirror principle to your financial life, you're likely to face some challenges. This is normal and even expected. Let's address some common obstacles and how to overcome them. One of the biggest hurdles you might face is doubt. You might find yourself thinking, this is too good to be true, or this won't work for me. These thoughts are natural, especially if you've struggled with money for a long time. To overcome this, remind yourself that the mirror principle isn't about magical thinking. It's about aligning your inner world with the reality you want to create. When doubts arise, acknowledge them, but don't let them derail you. Instead, see them as opportunities to reinforce your new beliefs. You might say to yourself, I understand why I'm feeling doubtful, but I choose to believe in my ability to create wealth. In our fast-paced world, we're used to instant results. But remember, the mirror principle often works with a delay. You might find yourself getting impatient when you don't see immediate changes in your financial situation. To handle this, focus on the small wins. Maybe you're feeling more confident about money, or you're making slightly better financial decisions. Celebrate these changes. They're signs that your inner work is having an effect. Also, remind yourself that lasting change takes time. You're not just trying to make a quick buck, you're transforming your entire relationship with wealth. When stress hits or things get tough, it's easy to fall back into old thought patterns about money. You might catch yourself worrying about lack or scarcity again. The key here is to be gentle with yourself. Change isn't linear. There will be ups and downs. When you notice yourself slipping into old patterns, don't berate yourself. Instead, gently guide your thoughts back to abundance. You might keep a list of your financial wins or grateful thoughts about money to read in these moments. Remember, every time you choose your new beliefs over the old ones, you're strengthening those new neural pathways. It gets easier with practice. As we wrap up our journey through the mirror principle, let's take a moment to reflect on what we've learned. We've explored how our inner world, our thoughts, beliefs, and feelings about money, creates our outer financial reality. We've discovered the power of patience and persistence, the importance of focusing on what we want rather than what we don't want, and how to use the mirror cycle to our advantage. Remember, the mirror principle isn't about wishful thinking or ignoring real-world financial responsibilities. It's about creating a powerful alignment between your inner and outer worlds that can transform your financial life from the inside out. As you move forward, keep in mind that this is a journey. There will be challenges along the way, but each challenge is an opportunity to reinforce your new beliefs and grow stronger. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small it might seem. Every positive thought about money, every wise financial decision, every moment of gratitude for what you have. These are all steps toward the wealthy future you're creating. I encourage you to start applying these principles today. Do the visualization exercise. Create and use your affirmations. Take those small, aligned actions. Be patient with yourself and trust in the process. The mirror of reality is always reflecting. Make sure you're showing it the image of wealth and abundance you want to see. Remember, you have the power to shape your financial destiny. You are worthy of wealth. You are capable of creating abundance. And with the mirror principle, you have a powerful tool to unlock the financial future you desire. Thank you for joining me on this journey. I believe in your ability to create wealth, and I'm excited for you to see what amazing things the mirror of reality will reflect back to you. Here's to your abundant future.